Will the real Tesla killer please stand up? If you've seen any of my videos before, you know that I'm a huge Tesla fan. We're also Tesla owners. I've been researching Tesla for a while. You can call me a Tesla promoter. And being that my friends, my family, they know this about me, anytime there's some news or some headlines that come out about the next car company that's going to compete with Tesla or the brand new Tesla killer, somebody's sending me an email or a text message letting me know. So in this video series, I'm going to examine all of these Tesla killers and see where they actually stand up with different Tesla models. So if you find any of the information in this video interesting, give me a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to catch the remaining 2 parts of this series. And I'd really like to see this become more of a discussion, so any feedback, suggestions, vehicles that I might have left off or ideas concepts that I might have left off, let me know in the comments. I'll read the comments and reply when I can, and I might even address them in future videos. So with that, let's get started. This video, the first video in this series, I'm gonna focus on the Model X, and then I'll do 2 more videos, one on the Model S and one on the Model 3. But for this one, it'll focus on the Model X. Something to consider when it comes to all the Tesla vehicles, there's some advantages built in with the brand itself. So the brand is known, so I'm going to take that into consideration. They have a massive following, and Tesla has almost become synonymous with electric vehicles now, so that's a huge advantage. Tesla also has the infrastructure of the supercharging network across the United States and across Canada and Europe, and they're building it out in Asia as well. So that's a massive advantage that I'm going to take into consideration. I'm also going to take into consideration the amount of time that Tesla's been producing cars. They're still experiencing some problems with Model 3, but they're working those out as well. So that helps when it comes to some cars. Other cars it won't. Other car companies will have more experience than Tesla. So those are just a couple advantages that Tesla will have in my mind when I'm doing these comparisons, and I'll try to bring those up when I'm making the comparisons as well. For the sake of this video series, the Model S will be the first car that I consider a Tesla production car. This video is going to focus on the Model X, which was Tesla's second production car after the Model S. It's a crossover SUV. The car was released in 2015, and when I'm going to give some of these stats, a lot of times I'm going to give the basic stats for the Tesla, so the lowest options that are currently available for the vehicle. So for the Model X, the base starting price now is $99,500. It has a range starting at 237 miles. It maxes out at 295 miles. And the car began production in 2015. So there's about 3 years worth of Model X's on the streets. And a benefit of that is after about 3 years, the people that sign 2 or 3 year leases, those cars are going to be coming in and they'll be available as certified pre-owned Teslas. So that's an advantage because they're going to be available at less of a price. So that will open up the market to even more people who couldn't necessarily afford the $100,000 price point. The battery starts at a 75 kilowatt hour battery. All Model X's are 4-wheel drive, and there's also an option for a 100 kilowatt hour battery. The 0 to 60 times start at 4.9 seconds. That's the slowest, and it can accelerate as fast as 2.9 seconds when you have the P100D with ludicrous mode. So that's the Model X. This was Tesla's second car, and it's kind of the most flashy or attention-getting car. Like those falcon wing doors, whenever you open those up, it's gonna get people's attention. And when you make the car dance and stuff like that, what value does that really add? Not too much. And I know Elon spent a lot of time perfecting the falcon wing doors. It helps the car stand out more and makes the car extremely recognizable, and that's going to add to the appeal of the car as well. So when we're looking at other vehicles to compare to the Model X, I'm going to take all of those things into consideration. Okay, the first car we're going to look at and compare to the Model X is the Faraday Future FF91. So there was a lot of hype when this car was launched as a potential Tesla killer. They were able to get some huge players in the automotive industry from BMW and Tesla, and they made a huge splash. So let me get into some of the stats that they published about the car. So the FF91, they're saying the range is going to be 378 miles per hour. So the expected release date is 2018, which is next year. So within 12 months, this car should be in production and they should be making deliveries based on the promised release date. They're saying it has a 0 to 60 time in 2.4 seconds, and it has a 130 kilowatt hour battery. One thing that I couldn't find set in that was provided by the company was the price, but some of the prices that I found have the car going at $180,000. Now there is a video of the prototype that they built going head to head with a Model S P100D, and it beats it. I think it's in the quarter mile, and the 0 to 60 time that they're saying, the 2.4, is also better than the Model S P100D. So they are making some grand claims. Every claim they make is better than Tesla's, and it's almost better than any of the other cars that I'm looking at. So grand claims from this car. So if they're able to deliver everything, then we're looking at a potential Tesla killer, except for the price point. So the price point is almost twice that of Model X. So that could be problematic if people can't afford it. But the bigger issue that we have there is there's probably no chance that any cars get produced in 2018, and there's a good chance that none of these cars are produced at all. Recently, I just read a report that 3 of the 5 founders of Faraday have left in the last 4 months. So the company has some serious issues, and they are trying to make announcements of how they're going to be able to recover, but I seriously doubt they will. So based on me suspecting they're not going to be able to meet any of these claims, I just don't see them as a realistic Tesla killer. I mean, the car has some great stats that they're throwing out there, but it's just not realistic that they're able to produce it at a price that would be able to compete with Tesla. So sorry, I don't see the FF91 as a Tesla killer. The next vehicle that we're going to look at is the Workhorse W15, and this is actually a light duty pickup truck. So it's not really in the same category as the Model X, but it is in the market space. It's getting some buzz, and this is probably the best category to put it in. You know, the Model X is a crossover vehicle, and it can be used to tow and, you know, bring stuff around. So we're just going to put it in this category because we want to discuss it. Now, I wasn't able to get too much information from the company website, but you know, they do have some pretty cool projects that they're working on, like the drones. Those look pretty cool. But for this truck, the information I was able to find is the range they're saying is 80 to 310 miles, and I'll discuss that range in a little bit. It's a kind of big difference. And the 0 to 60 time is 5.5 seconds. That's about all the official information that they had. And the biggest reason that I'm not gonna say this truck is gonna compete with Tesla, like even if it's produced and everything like that, is because it's a hybrid. So that's where we get the funny looking range from. So the range on the battery pack is 80 miles, and that's when their engine kicks in, and they use the engine to charge the battery pack or to give power to the motors while you're driving the vehicle, and that will get it it will get the range up to 310 miles an hour. So this is a hybrid. Right now, the people that are interested in Tesla, we really enjoy the fact that it's an electric vehicle. That's why I say it's going to be hard for the Workhorse truck to compete with Tesla, simply because it's a hybrid. So for being a Tesla killer, because it's a hybrid, I don't consider it a legitimate threat. The next vehicle I'm going to look at is, again, not a direct competitor of the X, but it's a very interesting vehicle, and this is the best category to put it in. It's the Bollinger Motors B1 truck. Now this is a very interesting concept, and I really like it because with the previous truck, they kind of look like they just built off what a truck looks like. With this truck, it's like they looked at what you want a truck to accomplish, or what you want a vehicle to accomplish, and they started from the ground up. So this is a truly all-electric vehicle that is totally designed and totally new to address the issues that people had. So I really like how they started this concept. So for some of the specs on the truck, for the range, it has 120 miles of range, and that comes from its 60 kilowatt hour battery pack. And I think there's going to be an option for a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack as well. They have a release date of 2019 on it, and it goes 0 to 60 in 4.5 seconds. So again, with the way they designed this truck, they started from scratch and looked to accomplish things that they wanted this vehicle to do. So it has a great ground clearance, which is one. And then since the battery pack is on the bottom and it's flat and there isn't a need for a gas tank and all those other things, they designed the truck brand new with all of that in mind. So there's an opening in the front and in the rear where you can slide long pieces of wood straight through. That's very smart thinking since you don't have any humps back there. And they made it convertible so you can have a full cab or a half cab, and it's not like you order one way and you keep it that way. You know, they'll send it to you with full cab, and then you can take parts down to turn it into a half cab. So it's convertible, so you have options with the vehicle. So if you need to bring 4 passengers, then you make it a full cab. If you need to tow more stuff, then you make it a half cab. So this concept and design is very intriguing to me, and I actually went on their website and I signed up, and I kind of reserved a place in line. And what's going to happen is they say in 2018 they'll send out emails where you can put a $1,000 deposit to keep your space in line, and they'll have more details available at that time, like the price. So it's something that I'm really interested in following. So since I'm interested in this and would like to see it move forward, it doesn't hurt for me to go ahead and sign up. That way they can say, you know, so many more people have, you know, presented interest in this truck, and that will help them with investments and getting funding and things of that nature. So maybe this product can actually come to market. But can it directly compete with a Model X? No, I think there's 2 different customers. It's an interesting vehicle, so I did want to bring it up. But you know, even if this vehicle is released, then there's a good chance it will be. Will this kill Tesla? I don't think so, just because it's a different market, and the way they designed it is a bit differently. Like, they have actual gauges in the car instead of having touchscreen. So since I'm more of a tech person, I'm going to lean more to the touchscreen. But for who they're designing this vehicle for, the actual gauges will be important to them. So it's in a totally different market space than Tesla. So I don't see this as a Tesla killer, but maybe they'll be able to operate together. So both companies will be able to be successful with different products that kind of have the same goal. All right, the next vehicle is a VW ID Cross. I don't know that I'm saying it correctly, but it's going around as, you know, the pretty cool concept with a horrible name. But it's a good looking vehicle from VW, which is an established company, which is a big advantage. One of the reasons I have them so high up on the list is because they're an established company. They have the know-how and the experience of actually producing mass market cars. So that's a big plus for them when you consider the other companies that we looked at so far are pretty much startups. This vehicle, they're saying the range is going to be 311 miles, and they're looking at a release date of 2020 on it. It has an 83 kilowatt hour battery pack, and we don't have any information about the 0 to 60 time or the price for the vehicle. But there's some cool images that we see, concept images. I haven't found anything as of yet about an actual prototype on it. It might be out there, I just didn't run across it. For right now, it's a concept. So the pluses, you know, is VW is an established car company that's made a lot more cars than Tesla and have a lot more experience when it comes to that. But the downside is that, you know, we're looking at 2020. That's a few years from now. That's 5 years after the Model X has been in production, and it'll have a lot of catch up to play. And to see if they can, you know, include some tech with it that can compete and get some attention away from Tesla and their Falcon Wing doors. So, as a Tesla killer right now, I don't think so, but we'll see in the future, maybe 2020. You know, they release something that really makes a splash. But for right now, if I was Tesla, I wouldn't feel like this car was gonna kill our company, but it could offer some competition to us down the road. Okay, and the last car on my list, and the closest one that I have to Tesla, is the Mercedes Concept EQ. So it's a concept now, so they might drop the concept from the name, but the EQ will probably stick with the vehicle. This vehicle almost didn't make my list because I got the information on it last minute, but I'm glad I got the information and I'm glad I was able to get it on, because if not, this would have been a huge miss on my point. Now, if you follow What's Inside Family, he just did a video where he was overseas and he actually got to ride in the car, and he was also able to interview some of the people that are working on the car. So I'll try and provide a link to that in the description. Okay, so first, this is a very good looking car. It's a really nice car. It's by Mercedes-Benz. They're established and they're really putting money into electronic vehicles. But for the stats on the vehicle, the range is going to be 311 miles, and a lot of companies are saying that 311 miles because it's actually 500 kilometers, so that's why you see the 311 miles so often. The release that they have for the car is slated for 2019, which is not that far away. There actually is a working concept that's been out, it's been driving around, so that's a plus. And what they have for 0 to 60 is sub 5 seconds, so it's going to be less than 5 seconds, and that kind of competes with the Model X. So if we look at them together, we look at it directly next to the Model X. The Model X has about a 4 or 5 year advantage on release date. We don't know what the battery is going to be for the kilowatt hour battery, but it'll probably be about 100 kilowatts if it's going to go 311 miles. So that's a little bit more than the Model X. And sub 5, the slowest Model X is 4.9, that's sub 5, so that's going to be kind of equivalent as well. The biggest thing to look at here was the price that I was able to find. So through my research, I saw someone quote that this car is going to cost $39,000. $39,000 for 300 miles of range. So when we look at everything across the board for this could be a serious problem for Tesla and the Model X, because the interior of this car is spectacular. The interior has enough perks to kind of compete with the Falcon Wing doors for the Model X. And the range is a little bit better, the 0 to 60 times are comparable, and this costs half as much as the Model X. This is something that we are all really gonna have to watch to see if Mercedes is able to roll this out in 2019, and if that price point that I found on it is correct. If everything is correct, this could be a game changer for Tesla. So Tesla, if you are paying attention, check out what Mercedes-Benz is doing with this car, and if that price point is right, Tesla better accelerate whatever they're doing when it comes to the Model Y, because the Model Y would be the car that's able to compete with this on the price point. So if Mercedes-Benz beats Tesla to the market with this vehicle over their Model Y, then that could lead to serious trouble for Tesla. Would it kill Tesla? Probably not, but this car is something that Tesla really has to look at. Alright, so that was my video for the Model X and the Tesla killers when it comes to that segment for Tesla. There are some interesting vehicles on that list, and there's some vehicles that I think are just duds on that list. I'd like this to be a discussion, so leave me a comment, let me know which of these vehicles most interests you, which ones you think will be a Tesla killer, or how disruptive any of these vehicles will be in the future for Tesla. Now remember, I'm going to be working on 2 follow-up videos, one for the Model S, one for the Model 3, so be sure to subscribe so you get notifications when those videos come out. Now, I love Teslas, but I also love EVs, so if any of these vehicles help transition the world to electric vehicles, I am all for it. One of my goals is to help as many people get into EVs as possible and get as much information to you as possible. So that's what my videos kind of focus on. If you are looking to get a Tesla, I do have my referral code in the description. It will enable you to get free unlimited supercharging if you buy a new Model S or a new Model X. If you are not in the market for a new Model S or a new Model X, I still want you to get into Tesla even if you can't use my referral code, so definitely look at the Model 3 and look at certified pre-owned Teslas. That's how we got into ours. So as always, I'd like to thank you for watching, and be sure to remember to subscribe and give me some thumbs up, and see you next time.